a devoted and loving husband, father and grandfather. And these qualities shine for us today, even brighter, when they march with humour, an almost complete lack of side and pomposity, and most of all, a generous and wonderful understanding of men and women and what makes them tick. So here indeed was a man for the difficult times. Indeed, a man for all the times. Half American, and yet ever ardent for closer bonds with North America and with Europe. Born in an English palace 130 years ago, and buried in the tiny graveyard at Bladen, next door to it, at the entrance to the great park at Bladen. He was at one with all people, of courage and goodwill, no matter what their race, their rank, or their nation. To conclude, I want to make 2 points to you quite apart from that. I want to briefly say something about foreign policy, and then I want to say something Tarsum. Firstly, I'm sure that all of you can feel and see and sense the astonishing seismic shift that is taking place in the world today. The end of the Cold War and all the certainties that your parents and I grew up in came to an end, and with it an era that we could predict. It led to the collapse of the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact, and as I say, all the old certainties just disappeared from the window. Interestingly, in political terms, that has made life less interesting because some of the big divides have disappeared from national lives, both yours and in this country. When I was growing up in politics, there were 2 very clear opposing world views. The free market with all its opportunities, with its apogee and role model in the United States of America, versus state capitalism and the spread of communism and the real threat of Russian thermonuclear weapons. All these, to a generation pre your life, seemed very real indeed. In Europe, in this country and in Europe, the European Union has now enlarged to 27 nations. Most of the countries that comprise the Warsaw Pact have either joined NATO or joined the European Union. It's almost impossible to get one's head around. There are very great difficulties in relations between Europe and America. There are the transatlantic tensions that exist around Iraq and Afghanistan. There is the absolute requirement to try to secure a Middle East peace process that achieves a result. There is the terrible unsolved quandary of Africa and how we can cope with this extraordinary, huge, emergent financial, commercial, industrial and political power of China, India, Russia and Brazil. Big decisions are going to be required of governments in your country and mine as to how they deal with these new challenges. And that's quite apart from global warming and all the other big issues that are the everyday meat of political life. We believe in this country, and that we are determined to ensure that the United Kingdom's role, not as a superpower, but as a major participant in world affairs, using our assets and our experience at the forefront of the world community. And I hope you will get some sense of how the history, which you will see this morning in the Abbey, has melded through into modern times today. And now for the Tarsum bit, and this is directed to you with great goodwill, the sense or the common sense to look well back in time are seldom able to look very far ahead with any self-confidence. As well as the most wonderful opportunities and chances that are going to be open to you, the world that you are going out into is a great liar. It tells you that it worships and admires money. but at the end of the day, actually it doesn't. It says it adores fame and celebrity, but it doesn't really. Is that actually, at the end of the day, if you look back on people's lives, what the world admires and most wants to hold on to and not to lose is goodness. The world admires virtue. At the end, it gives its greatest tributes to generosity, honesty, courage, mercy, talents all well used. Talents that, when brought into the world, really do make it a better place. Actually, that is what the world most admires. There is a great lesson there for all of us. Whatever our calling is, or whatever our calling will be, whether in public life or in the professions, or however you choose to make your way in the world. I found a letter the other day written by an American, Mary Sarton, who was living in London during the Blitz in 1941. I don't think any of us can imagine what it must be like to live in a city that is bombed every day and all month, for months and months and months. This is what Mary Sarton wrote to someone in America. It's appropriate for our times today. She said this: "Whatever I hope or believe, profound changes are taking place, and that is reason for hope in itself. And as at all moments of crisis, inner and outer, it can be the end or the beginning, depending on the human mind and on the human greatness or weakness. I am glad to be living at such a time. I consider it an honour." Well, you and I are very lucky and very honoured to be living at this time. For your generation faces the most tremendous challenges. Upon you and upon your shoulders will come the conclusion, either successful or otherwise, of the fight against global poverty, against ignorance and disease, the dealing of the transfer of economic power and influence from the West to the East, the shortages of water, energy and food, and the threat of climate change, all of which require global, not national solutions. These are all going to be dealt with by you and your generation. Economics may be global, but all politics is local. And the world in your generation needs especially to find a way to integrate the two. In politics, as in life, it is when the winds blow hardest that you need the deepest roots. Parliament in this country, Congress in yours, people in every walk of life are often asked to enter almost uncharted territory. And it is then that you need a compass to give you a sense of direction. This applies to a political party, to a country, or to an individual. In your country and in mine, in your country, in your wonderful, unique and marvellous constitution, in this country, as you will see in Westminster Abbey this morning, the Crown, the law, the Church, peace, justice, tolerance, good nature and democracy incorporate great traditional values in our life and in yours. And of one thing I am absolutely certain after 25 years as a Member of Parliament, is that it is those who carry with them an abiding knowledge of the heritage of the past are those who can face the future without fear. So the world on this gorgeous, wonderful, sunny day really is your oyster. There is absolutely nothing to stop any of you doing and achieving whatever it is that is your greatest ambition. And I wish you every success and all the luck and happiness in the world. And thank you for having me today. Okay, well, if you want to read, thank you, if you want to read the easiest book and the book book that is really gives you, but it's a very short period of life. There's a lovely book he read called My Early Life. If you're interested in hard work and you're historians, you should read Marlborough, which is in 2 volumes, which is one of the greatest histories of any military commander ever written, and you can really smell the gunpowder. And for those of you that are interested in current history, are interested in the Sudan and what's going on there, he wrote a wonderful book called The River War. And the River War was the story of his time in the Egyptian and Sudanese campaigns against the Mahdi. And it's a fascinating read, and again there it's so beautifully written that you can smell the gunpowder. And it's a wonderful story.
But again.
Okay, now you can kind of see it. Westminster's right there on your left. See where the flag's flying? And then right here on your right is Parliament, and there's Big Ben is right behind the clock and everything.
And this is Victoria, right here? What's the station here?
This is Westminster Station.
Westminster Station.
Victoria Station.
Down a little. And then Buckingham's up here on the left, is it not? Or Trafalgar Square?
Yeah, Trafalgar Square is up on the left.
Straight ahead. Buckingham's off to the left.
Can y'all see the clock there on the right-hand
Big
side?
Ben.
That's Big Ben, guys.
Look at the guy cleaning the windows right there.
Yeah, scary job,
And
huh?
the guy up here to the right with the Uzi.
What?
The guy up on the right with the submachine gun.
The statue on the end is Winston Churchill.
Oh, cool.
No, they're stuck on it.
This is Westminster Abbey.
It's on inside.
Yeah, Westminster Abbey's right here on the left. You kind of see it. Just a little bit further down will be the 10 martyrs that we'll talk about tomorrow. Ministry of Finance, it's the Treasury building. That's like the IRS for us. So everybody loves that building.
Sorry, am I right here?
No, you're fine, you're fine.
How long has that guy been there doing?
Paul, are we going to go right in front of Trafalgar?
How long has that guy been?
Oh, yeah.
And Trafalgar Square is right up here.
Straight ahead.
Yeah, straight ahead. These guards are guarding White Palace. This name is Rose White. The whole area is known as White. And White Palace was one of King Henry VIII's palaces.
Tell him to look out.